Members of parliament cheered when the news that Mugabe has given up power was announced. Mugabe's resignation had been a key demand of his ZANU-PF party and the army. The opposition supported the impeachment motion against him. He had been accused of allowing his wife Grace to usurp constitutional power.
Many of the middle-aged people in that country grew up knowing only one man as president, Robert Mugabe. His troubles started when he sacked his vice, Emmerson Mnangagwa, 2 weeks ago. Zimbabwe MPs who were going through the motions to impeach the president when the announcement came roared into wild jubilation. Opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai, who welcomed the president's decision to resign, is calling for an all-inclusive transition process.
Hope and wish is that we are able to craft a transitional framework for the next elections, which will put in place the issue of reforms, the issue of free and fair elections, as per the Constitution. And if we have to extend the time frame, it has to be through consensus. And better still, I think we are entering a phase where there is national convergence.
Meanwhile, people have come out of their homes and poured onto the streets of the capital, Harare. I'm joined on the phone now by Richard Chidza, who is a senior political reporter with the New Day newspaper in Harare. Hello, Richard.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Now, are you one of those who's been out there jubilating?
I'm actually tired now.
So you have been jubilating?
So I've been happy. It's a momentous occasion. It's epic, man.
Now, it's about 10 p.m., I believe, in Harare. Are there still scenes of other people still out there jubilating?
There are millions, there are hundreds, in thousands in the streets of Harare.
When was the last time you saw any such scene in the capital?
I've never seen anything like it. When Mugabe came to power, I'm 42. When Mugabe came to power 37 years ago, I was 5. I was a kid. I have no recollection of what really went on. I was in the rural areas. I had never traveled to the city then. So I have no idea of this. I've only seen pictures here and there, grainy pictures of people celebrating in 1980. So this is like a rebirth of our country.
Now, you're a journalist, and so I'd want to think that a journalist will stay neutral and objective, but it's clear that you're all into the fray and excited.
It's difficult to be neutral in a situation like this one. At the end of the day, firstly, before I am a journalist, I identify myself as a journalist, I'm a Zimbabwean. Everything that affects Zimbabweans affects me also. I have a mother, I'm a father. I have a sister, I have young brothers. I have been affected by this situation in the country. Mugabe's administration has affected me. Like everybody else, we have had probably 15, 20 years of our life taken away from us.
Are you expecting so much to change? And I'm asking this because the ZANU-PF party is still going to be in power, essentially.
Of course. I'm not expecting much. I'm very skeptical. And I remain wide awake of what is likely to happen. I'm aware that Mnangagwa is basically a clone of Robert Mugabe. But he has no choice but to reform. And before he was fired from government, he had shown signs that he would have wanted to embrace political, economic, and social reforms. He has been interviewed in different media channels, indicating his movement away from the traditional way of doing things by ZANU-PF. So there is an expectation, yes, but there is an understanding in the reality that Mnangagwa is still ZANU-PF and ZANU-PF will still be government. So basically what we are looking at is probably a mild shift from the tradition, but also a new beginning in that it will be easier for Zimbabweans to remove Mnangagwa than it would ever have been to remove Mugabe.
Now, Richard, so we're seeing these scenes of wild jubilation in Harare. There's similar scenes in the countryside.
Every part of the country. I was talking to cousins and nephews in the rural areas, 400 kilometers from here, and it's an explosion of euphoria across the country.
If the people are so excited to see Mugabe go, why didn't they vote him out in all the elections that were held in the 37 years that he's been in power?
It is a fact and a non-fact that President Robert Mugabe, during his tenure, he created a patronage system that allowed him to rig elections. And there is a joke actually going around now as people celebrate that one of the senior officials, the Registrar General of Elections in Zimbabwe, the Registrar General in Zimbabwe, his office was raided by soldiers. It's a joke that is doing the round. That his office was raided and he was caught with the results of the 2018 elections. 2018 elections, you can imagine, elections are due next year, around August, September, thereabouts. So they say there is a joke going around that Mudede was found with the results for it.
Now, one other thing I'm curious about is the fact that we haven't heard President Robert Mugabe actually read out this resignation letter that we've been told of. Could it be that this resignation letter wasn't exactly coming from Robert Mugabe?
No, not really. It was coming from Mugabe. The resignation letter was delivered by the Minister of Justice. President Mugabe had personally called the Speaker of Parliament at 1:53 in the afternoon and made his indication that he was intending to resign. But the Speaker could not officially communicate this to legislators who were trooping into the chamber to begin discussions around Mugabe's impeachment. He had to wait for the letter from the president.
But the call that you're talking about that President Robert Mugabe placed to the Speaker, it was the Speaker who was reporting it.
It was the Speaker who reported that. In fact, the President in the letter also wrote that he had called and he indicated earlier his intention to step down from his position as President of the Republic.
All right, it doesn't sound as if anybody else in Zimbabwe shares my conspiracy theory.
No, nobody shares that. And you're trying to throw cold water on our celebrations, man.